see all of you. I'd like to thank our lead sponsor, the College of Public Health at Kent State. They've been a great partner to your team as well as a tremendous resource to us. We would also like to thank the SAFE program at Belfair JCB, as well as our school sponsors, Beechwood PTO, Orange, Radnor School, and Soul. We're grateful for your participation. I would now like to introduce Ken Slankovich, the Assistant Dean of the College of Public Health. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thanks, Stephanie. On behalf of the College of Public Health at Kent State, we're really excited about this evening for a number of reasons. One, the topic is so relevant. You know, I have a daughter who is in that age where you worry about these sorts of things and don't know how to initiate conversations. And so I know that our panelists are a great set of panelists who are going to help us hopefully navigate those tricky waters. The other reason that we're so proud to be here is I have to brag on at least one of the panelists. He's one of our graduate students, Frank Henry Alla, and you'll hear from him. And Frank is one of those shining stars in the College of Public Health. We're very proud of him and all of his peers. We have a great student body. So on behalf of the Dean who couldn't make it tonight, and all the faculty and students, we're just thrilled to be a sponsor here and hope you enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to turn the program over to Dan Moulthrop of the Civic Commons. Shockingly, we didn't scare him away with the bullying panel last fall, and he graciously agreed to moderate tonight's program. And I like to say it's a topic that, as parents, really makes us squirm the most. So we're honored and thrilled that Dan is facilitating this discussion. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you, Ken. I'll start off by seeing if I can make you squirm a little more, since Stephanie just invited me to. These are the lyrics to a song that, if you're not familiar with, your kids probably are. Tonight, I'm gonna let you be the captain. Tonight, I'm gonna let you do your thing. Yeah. Tonight, I'm gonna let you be a rider. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. Tonight, I'm gonna let it be fire. Tonight, I'm gonna let you take me higher. Tonight, baby, we can get it on. Yeah, we can get it on. Yeah. That's by Rihanna. She's that song. Not that song is number 2. Another one of her songs is number 2. It's called S&M. I don't know what it's about. Anyway, our goal tonight is to provide all of you with as much practical information as we can. We're going to get really serious about exactly what works, what you can say and what you shouldn't say, how you should say it and how you absolutely should not say it, and what you should expect in terms of success when you actually have these kinds of conversations with your children. Because chances are, if you try having these kinds of conversations with your teenage children, you haven't felt successful. So that's normal. That's totally normal. And we're going to give you some tools and hopefully give you some perspective. In a moment, I'm going to introduce our panelists, but first, what I just read to you was actually really obvious. It's obviously about sex, but there's a lot of material, a lot of content that we consume and our children consume, where the sexual messages are they're just there, and we may not even notice it. So Sue Morrison put together a couple of clips from some very, very popular television programs, and if I could, I'd just press play, but I think somebody else has the remote control.
Roll tape.
If we hear this in the basement, we should go down there and check on the kids right away.
Exactly. It's going to be in hands.
Here it goes. There's no sound. No sound.
So what I really want to tell you is, oh yeah, I get it. No, but there's no sound. We're working on it. This worked so well about a half hour ago.
One back in the week. Come on. We all know how you like to feel. And maybe you just let go a little. Maybe even taste my cupcakes. I will join you. No, I am so confused right now. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The kids just walked in on me and Phil in the bed. And we've just spent the last hour putting up in our rooms trying to figure out what to say to them. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You must be Boomer's mom. Father's name. I couldn't agree with you more, and I can assure you that I had a long talk with Jay about how wrong it is to objectify women.
Up here, up here.
I know, I see you. And let me tell you something. There is no one more sympathetic than I to the plight of the large-breasted woman.
Plight? It's not an affliction.
I'm sorry. I'm scared. It's just that you have the most beautiful eyes. And your breasts.
Okay. Look, you're coming on a little strong. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Because it's the anniversary of the club was to be together. So why don't we just start over, okay? You can just tell me about yourself.
All right.
Okay.
I write erotic novels for children. They're wild and popular. Oh, also, you might be interested to know that I have a PhD.
Wow, you do?
Yep, pretty huge.
So, I think that I'll just make the point explicit. If you're not having these conversations with your children, they're having these conversations anyway, but they're just having them with one another, with their friends, with people perhaps you don't want them to have to be learning from, or they're not having conversations with anyone and they're just struggling to figure it out on their own. There's a role that we all get to play in our kids' lives, and it's really up to us to do it the best way we can. So tonight we're going to try and give you some tools to do that. Let's bring up our panelists, please. Lita Townsend is leading the charge there. She runs the Responsible Sexual Behavior Program for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. Henry King is with MetroHealth. He runs the Pride Clinic there. And Frank, who you were introduced to before, Frank Henriala, is a master's student in public health at Kent State University. And now I'm going to take a seat as well. So, we're going to start with where kids' heads are. And after, we're going to talk about that a little bit, and then talk about where our heads are and where they should be when we're having these conversations. And we're going to talk not just about how you have the talk, but also how the talk is really not the only thing that you're responsible for. That it's in fact a kind of an ongoing set of very small talks that make you all feel terrible over the course of your children's over the course of your children's adolescent years, until sometime, 10 or 20 years from now, they actually feel like they have a strong relationship with you and they thank you for your work. So
Some of you don't need me for a while.
Yeah, but Frank, let's start with you, because you're representing the kind of youth perspective here, even though you're no longer a teenager, or even in college, but you're closer to it than any of the rest of us. Where are teenage boys in their heads when mom and dad says, we need to have a talk?
Shut I was actually having this conversation with a lot of my friends. I'm trying to figure out, what was your conversation with your parents about sex? What was that about? Did you have the virgin beast talk? What was it? And come to find out, they've all had the same response. They don't want to hear it. They just don't want to hear their parents talking to them about sex. You don't want your parents to even think or know that you're having sex or what you're doing. You want to keep it to yourself. And so I think when that conversation comes up, I know for myself personally, it was like, I don't want to have this, let's talk about something else, let's go anywhere else, but let's do not talk about sex.
Lita, the students that you work with in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, when you have conversations with them about the way that their parents talk to them, what do they tell you?
Either they're saying their parents don't talk to them at all, but the flips for teenagers, little ones, we talk all the time. But the flip side of that is, like you said, most teenagers are petrified that you're going to talk to them. That's very scary for them. But that doesn't mean don't talk to them, because at the same time, they are dying to know that you care, and they're dying to know what your expectations are of them.
Henry, would you agree?
Yeah, actually, I would definitely agree. The teenagers that I see in clinic, either at the Division of Adolescent Medicine at Metro or at the Pride Clinic, they really do value the types of messages that they get from their families and from the trusted adults of their lives. I think the challenge is how we get that effective messaging to them in a way that's meaningful and makes them feel less uncomfortable, and when we're delivering it, we feel more empowered and less uncomfortable too. It's an uncomfortable conversation, I think, for most individuals unless they do this on a daily basis. All the time. But unless it's part of your work routine or your job, there's a learning curve. There's some, I think, vocabulary and some a model or a frame of mind that we need to be in when we're trying to convey healthy messages about healthy relationships and whatnot.
By the way, I meant to say before that we're going to do a little bit of conversation up here and get to your questions as soon as we can. I believe that all of you have cards that you can write questions on. They'll be brought up here at some point. So if questions occur to you at any point, just write them down, and we will try to include as many as we possibly can later on. And I can't remember if I just said this or not, but we are also going to talk about sexuality, not just about sex, but about how to open up those conversations if your children are questioning, or if your children are no longer questioning and they're pretty sure they're not straight, but how to have those conversations with them. Let's get out of the way the stuff that you absolutely should not do. Frank, what is the advice to give to parents? Like, whatever you do, don't do this. Like, if I was going to say something, like, if you've got boys, never tell them, never just come out and say, son, it's okay to masturbate. That screwed me up, like, till today.
That's really hard to follow.
One of the things to do is, I understand if you want to be open about sex, parents want to be open as possible. Everyone, for the most part, everyone is having sex. Don't be on the phone with your girlfriends or friends and says, guess what? He's having sex now. You don't want to do that. Or turn to them and say, hey, are you having sex now, son? That's something you don't want to do at all. It's pretty scary, I guess you would say.
Scarred for life.
Yes.
Lita?
First, I just have to say that statistically, not pretty much everyone is having sex. There are still kids who are not, so you really need to look at their age group, and there are statistics that show it's hovers usually, depending on their age, around 50% have had sex or before they graduate. It depends on where you are as well. But I would say before you have the talk, please practice having the facial expression. Because if you're lucky enough that your child approaches you with an issue and says, Mom, Dad, I need to talk to somebody, I need to talk to you, your face better not say, oh! Practice your facial expression first before you have the talk.